You like even saying it when we're even close now. We almost had a bingo, bango, bonga.
I was rooting for the bingo, bango, bongo. I wanted the bingo, bango, bongo. Oh, so close to another bingo, bango. Oh, were we close to a half a bingo, bango, bongo? That was last week as we root pick by pick for the possibility that we have the same projected score for a game. And the ultimate outcome is we pick the same score, and that is the score that hits. That is the bingo, bango, bongo, bunghole. That is one of my life dreams now, that you and I pick the same score for a game, and that is the final score. I was actively rooting for it last Thursday night because we both picked the Rams 27-17. Obviously, that didn't work out because the Rams lost the game. And that was just a sign of things to come, because it was an outright disaster for me last week. It was Correction Sunday for a lot of teams. And it was Correction Sunday for me. Just as I was feeling like I had figured this out.
That's very good.
Well done. I would give a standing ovation to Pete for this if I were wearing pants. I am in the Bill Belichick moth-ridden navy shirt, and Chris has the very cool Stephon Diggs with the hole in pretty much the same spot. We had fun with that on Monday. Very well done.
Well to go. Way to go. Way to go, Kelsey. Kelsey was the brains behind that. So way to get it done, Kelsey. Pete, we know Pete didn't do anything, so it's all Kelsey.
Great work on the graphics for the picks comparison.
I look cool. I look stylish over there. I'm liking it. You know what the funny thing is too, because my wife's very into fashion, right? Where she has these like Balenciaga T-shirts and stuff where they have holes. They have holes in them, and they charge you more money for the holes in them, right? It's like you pay $400, $500 for a T-shirt that looks like shit. It's incredible. That's how wealthy the wealthy is now. We buy shirts that look like shit and go, hey, we got money to buy shirts that have holes in them. Look how rich we are. It's incredible.
So you and I were talking on Monday because you noticed that I use a backpack now, and I can't believe it took me 15 years to realize how much easier it is to travel with your computer and your other like office supplies for the mobile work in a backpack, because I had a bag with a handle on it. It's just one other thing to carry. So I stole one of my son's backpacks, and I told you I had ordered a bougie one for myself, and it came yesterday, and it is awesome. It is so nice. I don't want to use it. It's this polo leather, and it smells great. And it's like I'm going to start dragging this thing all over the place and get it all scuffed up and banged up. I can't use it. It's too nice.
Oh, that's good. I like it though. It's all right. You got to use it. Get your money's worth out of it. You know, you saved up well. You got all that Florida cheap rock shit behind you. You saved some money to buy a good bag. Way to go.
Coming to you live on tape from the Olive Garden kitchen that was first built in the 1970s, and it irritates my wife that I lean into that bit because she wants me to pick up the computer and like display the intricate rock formation that makes this look like a medieval castle, but I'm not going to do it today because I'll probably drop the computer and break it and have to buy a new one. Okay, time for week 6. It's already week 6, and of course we say that every year. It's already week 7. I can't believe it's week 8.
You're getting like Mike Francesa here. Hey, it's week 6. Hey, it's week 7. Can you believe it? It's week 8. Can you believe it?
Hopefully that's only the comparison. Not that I have an issue with Mike Francesa, but I don't want to emulate anyone. Okay, so there are the numbers from last week. I really don't need to see that again. 4-10, you were 8-6. The margin straight up is down to 2. Woo. Against the spread, I'm surprised I got 6 right. I thought I was 0 for 14 last week against the spread. So I still have a little lead there. Best bets, you went 3-0. I went 1-2. Thanks to Amari DiMercato, I was 1-2. I would have been 2-1. And you would have been 2-1 if the Broncos hadn't come back from a 17-3 deficit.
Yeah, shit. Clutch. I deserved one. Well, when you see Amari DiMercato, maybe you can hit him just like the head coach did. You can be like, hey, you screwed up one of my best bets, and then throw a right hook at him as you walk by.
No, I wouldn't do that because, first of all, I don't think anybody will ever get away with hitting him again after what happened last week. And I'm surprised that we didn't have a Latrell Sprewell situation on the sideline when the coach decided to lay hands on a player last week. So we move on to week 6, flush it and move on. Don't let one loss become 2. That's what I learned from you. I'm not going to let that happen again this week. So we're going to make our picks after we tell you this. Every week this season, you can play along with us. DraftKings has set up the free $1,000 Florio and Simms pick and pool. You pick every game against the spread for a chance at a $1,000 prize pool every week.
Download the DraftKings app, click on the pools tab, enter the Florio and Simms free $1,000 pick and pool to make your picks.
Important change this year, the Thursday night games and the early Sunday morning European games are not included, so you have until 1 o'clock Eastern on Sunday to think it through and make your picks. Unlike us, we have to make all of our picks on Thursday, including the pick for the Sunday night game. We're at a disadvantage. We can't let it go right up until kickoff and then say who we like. We got to pick them now, although that worked out for you last week because you picked the Patriots wisely over the Buffalo Bills. All right. Let's get to it. Week 5 is gone. Week 6 is here. The two teams off are the Vikings and the Texans. Underdogs were 8-6 straight up last week. It begins tonight with the Giants as a 7-point underdog at home against the Eagles, 40.5 over under. Chris will be there. Will you be happy when it's all said and done?
I mean, probably not. I feel like, I'm not going in with high expectations. I'm going into the game with hey, I'm excited to be there, be at the stadium, feel the excitement of Jackson Dart, all of that. And also feel that, hey, after 2 weeks, even though the Giants lost last week, they've shown some promise here on both sides of the football. I mean, in a lot of ways, outplayed the New Orleans Saints last week. We just know that some of the young guys and the 5 consecutive turnovers, you're not going to beat anybody playing that way. So I look at the Giants' offense as it continues to grow. Jackson Dart has given them more offense, crazy enough to say, over Russell Wilson. So there's more to defend there. His athleticism has certainly shown he's a pain in the butt to defend in that area. They've run the ball a little bit better here as of late, right? We don't know the health status of Jalen Carter and the Eagles. The Eagles, we know, are clearly the better team. The Eagles got some pressure on them tonight. And do we think the Eagles are going to fix their offensive woes just here in a 3-day period, getting ready for a Thursday night game? Not really. But, yeah, I'm picking the Eagles to win the football game. I'm going to take them 27-17. It's a close 27-17, though. I think the Giants hang around. It's one of those where it's like 20-17, 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and the Eagles punch it home to kind of end the football game. That's how I look at it, Mike. What about you, man?
I'm going 24-13, but I'm very concerned about this one because it's a short week. There's not a lot of time for the Eagles to get their act together. There was the reported meeting between running back Saquon Barkley, quarterback Jalen Hurts, receiver A.J. Brown. I don't know which way they're going to skew. Are they going to try to feed the ball to A.J. Brown? Are they going to force feed it to Saquon Barkley? Are they going to try to rope-a-dope the Giants? I just think that you can very easily outsmart yourself in a situation like this. And I asked Coach Dungy earlier today, like, how would you handle it if you've got these offensive players who clearly are frustrated? What do you do?
Right.
And you just got to emphasize to everybody the goal is to win. You know, we hear the one ball excuse from the Eagles now. Well, there's only one football. And I said to Coach Dungy, we never heard there's only one football when he had Peyton Manning and Edgerrin James and Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne and Dallas Clark and Marcus Pollard. They made it work because they won. That's the key. And the Eagles had been winning, but this all bubbled up with A.J. Brown's tweet, and they're still trying to deal with the aftermath of it. But I think I'm going to defer to the fact that they're the defending Super Bowl champions and their backs are against the wall. They can't lose 2 games 4 days apart. That's the basis for my complicated algorithm. Pull it out of my butt. 24-13 Eagles.
Yeah, I hear you there. I do. And I'm going to be interested to see the approach they take on the offensive side of the ball tonight. And you know I've been critical of it. And you know that where it's different with the Colts and the example you used is Peyton Manning spread the ball and the offense was very versatile. What's frustrating Philadelphia and the players is the quarterback is holding the offense hostage, and nobody wants to say it. And that's the problem. And everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else except the quarterback. And he is the problem. And that's why we are where we are. And that's why that's why you say 3 times a week, it's just a weird thing going there in Philadelphia. Weird. Yeah, it's weird because nobody there will blame Jalen Hurts. They're not going to do that. So they know if they do that, that'll cause even more of a snowball effect and everything there. But that is the problem. Bottom line.
By the way, I don't want to get ahead of the official announcement, but Chris will be taking over the drive time radio spot on WIP Sports Radio Philadelphia starting next week.
Yeah, bring it.
Sunday afternoon for our friends in the UK and Ireland, the Denver Broncos, fresh off their upset win over the Philadelphia Eagles. I asked Parker Gabriel, the beat writer for the Denver Post covering the Broncos, that was the biggest win since when? And he said all the way back to the Super Bowl that they won. That's how big that win was for the Broncos. So they go to London. They're facing a Jets team that is winless. They're favored by 7.5 points. I feel like it should be more than that. Do you give the Jets a chance to win or to cover facing a Broncos team that, even though they're 3-2, they feel a lot stronger than that now?
That's right. They got 5-0 vibes about them. They could be that, And yeah, I expect them to win. And I'm with you in the fact that I thought that spread looked a little low. I mean, I was like, man, 7.5. I mean, if the London Bridge falls on the Broncos, they still might win by 7.5. I mean, so that's where I think last week's game for the Broncos is now a jump-off point, right? That's the game that goes, oh, damn, we are good. Let's carry this momentum. We can beat anybody in football. We were down to the Super Bowl champs 17-3 in the fourth quarter and came back and beat them and dominated the game in the second half of the football game. So I look at that and go, yeah, I think that last week was a good thing for the Broncos. I think it's only going to get better. The Jets' defense is not very good. I'm being polite in that. And the Broncos can run the ball. And then also, I think their pass game is on the cusp of kind of exploding here. We see it make plays every game. It hasn't maybe been consistent making plays every game, but I think it's really close that way, right? I think Bo Nix's confidence is going to go through the roof after coming back on the road in Philadelphia. So you have that. And then I think the Broncos defense has figured something out. We talked about it on Monday, right? Too aggressive in the first half, letting up too many plays. I think they're good enough to play a little bit more conservative. Play zones, let the pass rush get there. I think they figure that as well. And then it's the Jets who don't have a pass game to rely on. And the Broncos lead the NFL in sacks. And this is a quarterback that holds the ball too long and doesn't always get rid of it. And they got the guys on the edge that can run him down. So, yeah, I go Broncos 28-13 in this one, Mike.
Yeah, I like the Broncos in this one, too. I got 28-9, so 4 points away from you know what. I'm impressed with J.K. Dobbins, who had promising years in Baltimore. He had moments last year with the Chargers until he had an injury that knocked him out for several weeks. And that's the one thing that we need to keep an eye on. And I'm not going to name names, but a rash of injuries could derail this Broncos momentum. And you never know when lightning is going to strike and when that's going to occur. They've got winnable games all the way until week 11 when they host the Kansas City Chiefs. They should start stacking wins now. And you completely undermine and erase what you did in Philadelphia if you let the Jets beat you on Sunday morning. And I don't think Sean Payton is going to let that happen. And the Jets just aren't good enough right now to pull it off. 28-9, the Denver Broncos, in my opinion, win. So both of us have the Broncos covering that spread for the early morning game. Then we get to the afternoon slate, the Ravens hosting the LA Rams. I thought it was interesting yesterday to see that the Rams are going to practice at Camden Yards, the first non-baseball sporting event ever in the 33-year history of that building. They're going to practice there and then go over to face the Jaguars next week in London. Rams are favored by 7.5. The Ravens at home, underdogs, coming off of a horrible loss, tied for their worst ever at home, 44.5 over under. I've picked Baltimore every week this season. Spoiler alert.
It's not happening this week.
Until week 6.
Yeah, right. Yeah, last week I would have said, you got into my stash and smoked way too much before that pick when you took the Ravens over there.
I called a pride game.
I know.
And apparently they have none.
No.
So that's it.
I hear that. It is. I would say I'm bothered by the Ravens. The Ravens, you can manage the game to kind of keep it a little close for just a little bit. And yeah, I don't think that's going to happen this week either. I mean, we know how beat up they are. I'm picking the game as if Lamar Jackson's not playing. I don't expect them to play. And a whole other list of guys that I don't expect to play either, and other guys that will play that won't be at 100%. The Rams coming off a devastating loss at home on a Thursday night, extra time to prepare. The crappy-ass Ravens defense and what they do there. I don't see the Ravens being able to stop this group in any way. They're going to be able to run the ball, throw the ball. I mean, we saw what the Texans did last week. The Rams are the Texans on steroids and HGH and testosterone on the offensive side of the ball.
Figuratively speaking.
Figuratively speaking, exactly right. So the only thing I go is, do the Ravens just go, let's change how we play? Let's go crazy blitz. Let's do something different that way, right? To maybe just they're not prepared for it. But even if they do that, it'll take a drive or two, and Stafford and McVay will figure that out, and then they'll torch them as well. So, yeah, I don't have faith in Cooper Rush running that offense there and getting it done. So I'm picking the Rams 34-17, second straight ass whooping in Baltimore.
I feel like the vibe that I noticed a couple of weeks ago against the Lions, the not our night, that was really emanating from the leader of the team, Lamar Jackson. I feel like that has become a not our year already. And I don't know how you reverse it with all the injuries.
Right.
Hell, they may be wise to start Tyler Huntley for this game, because Cooper Rush, yet another guy that, and I talked him up last week, right?
Yeah.
Hey, this guy,
I hear you,
as a starter in Dallas, and why didn't anybody ever give him a chance to be a starter? And he gets his chance with the Ravens, and it just doesn't work. It was an embarrassment. And I wonder if they can pivot to a nothing to lose mentality. Nobody believes in us, rightfully so. I just think it's going to be very difficult, because the Rams had extra time, and the Rams, as they did after they lost to the Eagles, they got it together the next week. I think the Rams get it together. They're going to be away from home for a while. They have to go face a Jaguars team that all of a sudden isn't an easy out. They need this one. 30-14 is my score for the Rams, putting last week's mess against the 49ers in the rearview mirror. Okay. The Cardinals, they had the mess last week where they could have been up 28-6 with 12 minutes left in the game. Instead, they opened the door and the Titans kicked it through. They also got one of the all-time football gods plays with that scramble after the interception where the ball was kicked into the end zone.
Read the rundown. Read the rundown.
I miss one? Which one? Oh, I missed one. I missed one.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I do it every week now.
You do. You know, I know.
Well, I was so excited about this when I skipped right over, because we have a battle between teams owned by the inadvertent middle finger giver and the intentional drink thrower. They're both coming together this week when Jerry Jones takes on David Tepper. Cowboys at the Panthers. The Panthers, they were down 17-0 last week, came back and beat the Dolphins. They beat the Falcons 30-0 at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. So, you know, I picked the Jets last week because I said the Cowboys are a different team on the road. Shows what I know. This week they're on the road again. Panthers have been good at home. Do the Cowboys continue to build this momentum that not many expected from a team whose defense still has a lot of work to do?
Yeah, this is an interesting game. I think this is going to be an exciting game. This is a game that will not be a best bet here for me, because I think it can go either way when you really break it down. The Panthers D is pretty good. It is. And that'll be the showdown. The Panthers D versus the Cowboys offense, which has shown that it's one of the best in football. I mean, it's incredible. So, yeah, they got the run game going in Dallas. We see the pass game going every week. Dak Prescott. I know people want to say MVP. He's playing NBC MVP caliber football. I want everybody to pump the brakes on MVP, though. 2-2-1, and we're giving a guy the MVP after 5 weeks? Like, come on. When did that happen all of a sudden? You're at 500. You're the MVP. Like, we're going to change the rules all of a sudden just because it's a cool story? Like, come on. That's a bunch of bullshit. Challenge flag on everybody out there. But he's playing awesome football. There's no doubt about that. The other aspect of this, like you said, the Panthers at home are a pain in the butt. And I do think the Panthers will be able to move the ball in the Cowboys a little bit, right? And it is can they run on Dallas? Dallas can slow down the run a little bit. They're not afraid to crowd the line of scrimmage and do some of that stuff and almost bluff you to throw the ball or beg you to throw the ball and do that. And we know, like, the Panthers, hey, they can run the ball and impose their physical will there. So I look at this and go, I think the Panthers can stay close in this one. But I do think at some point the Cowboys D makes a play, and I just don't know if the Panthers O is good enough to totally take advantage of a Dallas D that's not very good. I think that's what I was trying to get at there. And so I'm going to go Cowboys in a tight one, 31-27.
Okay, so you do have the Cowboys for 3-point favorites covering by 1. It was odd last week because once the tide turned in the Dolphins-Panthers game, I felt like the Panthers still weren't equipped to take it. And I felt like run out of time. And it was just weird because they suddenly became dominant, but the results weren't there. And I don't think it was a good idea for Rico Dowdle, the former Cowboy who had 200-plus rushing yards last week, to say, oh, buckle up or whatever, because they will. You just don't want to give them anything extra. You don't want to provide that little sliver, and they'll say, oh, it doesn't mean anything, and then they close the door to the locker room, and it means everything when you're getting the guys ready to play. I think the Cowboys can continue the momentum that they have established, even though it was just the Jets. They went in there and won convincingly. There was some garbage time scoring that made it seem closer than it was. I got the Cowboys 27-20, and I'm with you on the Dak Prescott MVP talk. We know that you've got to be a high seed in the playoffs. You've got to be a quarterback of one of the high seeds in the playoffs to have a shot at being the MVP. And, last year, hey, the Chiefs were the 1 seed, but Mahomes didn't have a great statistical year. That opened the door for Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. The Cowboys have a lot of winning to do before Dak Prescott is going to be regarded as a serious MVP candidate, but he is playing extremely well. And without him, the Cowboys would not be 2-2-1. They get to 3-2-1, I think, as do you. I got 27-20 for that one. Okay, now the one that I started into, because this one is exciting. It is the battle of the drop the ball at the one team. A.D. Mitchell does it 1 week. Amari DiMercato does it the next week. I would be stunned if it happens again this week. The last place it's going to happen is at Lucas Oil Stadium between the Cardinals and the Colts. The Cardinals had extra time to get ready coming off of they didn't have extra time. They had extra time the week before. Forget what I just said. They're coming off of that bad loss at home. They've lost 3 in a row. The Colts are rolling right now. I know where I'm leaning. The Colts are only favored by 7 with an over-under of 46.5. This is another one where I feel like it should be more than 7. What do you got for this?
I'm with you there. I do too. And then I think the big thing is, can you score touchdowns against Arizona? You can move the ball against Arizona. Scoring touchdowns has not been easy. That's kind of the strength of their defense. They bend, but they don't break. The Colts, it's hard to score touchdowns on them too. And they're a better defense altogether. And they're playing an Arizona offense that we know it's hard work for them. There's some moments where you go, ooh, okay, that looks good and all that. But at the same time, I don't think any of us sit here and go, oh, wow, the Cardinals offense can just move the ball on anybody. I'm not sold on that. The Colts are functioning at such a high level on both sides of the ball right now. And, to the point of that offense, can they score touchdowns in the red zones against the Cardinals? Yeah, I think so, because the Colts have so many options. The Colts offense has incredible versatility. It's got really good talent. And, of course, it has an unbelievable play caller behind it. So, and I just don't have faith that the Cardinals, can keep pace. I'm going 31-20 Colts in this one, Mike.
I have Colts 27-17. One of the big questions for me are, how will the Cardinals react to last week's debacle?
That's a big question, Mike. I'm with you there. Totally.
And I just don't think that
it's a good thing, right?
That they've got the leadership to do it.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed with how Jonathan Gannon handled himself in the game. And I wonder, and obviously we don't have access to the specific apology that he gave on Monday. How was that apology received by the players? Was it regarded as sincere, or did it feel forced? Did he provide caveats to the apology like, hey, we all made mistakes and I made one of them too? Well, his is different than the mistakes that were made on the field, because his was intentional. Amari DiMercato's mistake was not deliberate. Gannon's was. He deliberately accosted DiMercato. So I just have a feeling they're going to have a hard time digging out of the hole that they dug for themselves last week in multiple different ways. I go Colts 27-17, and I won't be surprised if it's ultimately worse than that and the Cardinals fall to 4 straight losses. Okay, this is a game. This is one of those in May, when they release the schedule, it looks one way. When week 6 rolls around, it looks and feels a different way.
Right.
Seahawks and the Jaguars. Seattle had that barn burner against the Buccaneers. They can't win at home, but they can't lose away from home. 9-1 under Mike McDonald when they aren't playing at home. They go to Jacksonville. Jaguars short week, 1.5-point favorites, 47.5 over under. You have picked the Jaguars against the spread with the spread every week this season. Are you doing it again?
I am. I believe in the Jaguars. You know that. I think the Jaguars are really good. Now, I think this is going to be a close football game. I do that. Well, my final score is not going to show close, but I'll explain that in a minute. But yes, I think Liam Cohen's got that team believing. I think that was like I said, with Bo Nix beating the Eagles and the Broncos, I think last week's win against the Chiefs is a jump-off. It's a jump-off spot. Hey, man, they scored 31 points and fumbled the ball at the 1-yard line going in to score, right? Their offense can move the ball. That's kind of the not talked about thing about last week is just whenever they needed to go up and down the field on the Chiefs last week, they did it. So they can do it all. Now, Seattle's defense, they can stop the run, but there are big plays there to be had in the pass game. And within that, they lit up some big plays, but they caused some turnovers and make some plays that way as well. And the Seattle offense it's playing at a pretty high level as well. I'm just going to go that Jaguars game last week, the momentum of it, being at home, Seahawks traveling across the country, believing in the Jaguars in totality on both sides of the ball and the vibes they got there. I picked 34-24 Jags, but I look at it more as like 27-24 Jags late touchdown to put them up by 10. One of those kind of games, Mike.
I got 21-17, and I'm a believer now after what I saw on Monday night that they're good enough to overcome the periodic and at times inevitable Trevor Lawrence mistake.
Right.
And maybe those mistakes are going to be ironed out.
That's right.
We've seen him kind of bust through to a higher level with the urging of Liam Cohen and offensive coordinator Grant Udinski. I think they're moving him toward whatever he was expected to be when he was the first overall pick in the draft.
Exactly.
And I feel like it's too much for the Seahawks this time around. Jaguars better than people realize. 21-17. They'll move to 5-1, which is almost incomprehensible.
Mike,
all right, next up.
And you're right. No, just real quick on that too. You're right about that. All right, that he's getting a crash course. This is the first time he's having a offensive coach who's it's constant pushing, hot poker. The pressure's on you. A little bit like we saw with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, right? It's a little bit of like, hey, I was the quarterback and there was a lot on me when I was with other coaches and stuff. But now I'm with a quarterback expert and an offensive expert and a guy that's kind of a genius, and he's going to take nothing less than like top tier, execution in any of that. And he's being pushed in a way that he's never been pushed before. And to your point of what you said, yeah, I think it will get ironed out, and I think it is all going in the right direction, no doubt.
And it's good that he's responding because look, if he hadn't, he's not going to be there for very long.
Right.
That's the reality. You get a new regime in there. The quarterback's one of the reasons why there's a new regime. They needed to get him to play at a higher level, and they got the message through to him. And on his 26th birthday, we saw Trevor Lawrence better than we've ever seen with that key play to win the game, which looked like it was going to be a disaster, and it turned out being the thing that provided the victory. Okay, next up, the Chargers heading to South Florida to take on the Dolphins. LA has lost 2 in a row. They have plenty of injuries. The Dolphins blew that 17-0 lead after beating the Jets to get their first win of the season. LA is favored by 4.5 points in this one. I'm going to take this one first because because just in the event there's a bingo bango, I don't have proof of it because here's what I did. I skipped over that one when I was doing the picks. I don't know how I missed it. So Chargers 27-24 is my pick. I think they have just enough to outscore the Dolphins, who are just kind of gradually falling apart. Maybe they'll blow another lead. I don't know. I know that the Chargers are banged up, but I think the Chargers are good enough to go down there and win the game. Jim Harbaugh is feeling it now after losing 2 in a row. It's going to be all hands on deck this week to urge his team to get to the point where they avoid falling to 500 after that great start. This is a gotta-have-it game for the Chargers, and this is one that, I think it'd be a shock. This is another where I'm surprised, and I think the injuries make the spread only 4.5 because I feel like the Chargers are significantly better. So give me the Chargers, and again, I'm threading the needle here because I think it is going to end up being close. So I just contradicted myself, but that's okay. At least I admit it. 27-24, the Chargers win.
Well, I think maybe what you're trying to say, like if the Chargers O-line was full strength, they would absolutely obliterate the Miami Dolphins. Like the Miami Dolphins can't stop the run at all. I mean, at all. They're one of the worst in football, if not the worst. I got to look it up, but it's really way down there. I mean, so yeah, this would be a game where like Jim Harbaugh, if they were healthy, he'd be like, hey, remember that Michigan game where we never threw the ball in the second half against Penn State? We're never going to throw the ball against the Dolphins. We're just going to run it down their throat. But the offensive line, to your point, and the injuries are a concern. It's how to change the way they're playing. Omarion Hampton ain't going to be there to play this week, right? I mean, he's going to be out.
He's on IR.
Right. So we got that. So, yeah, but within all those injuries on the offensive side of the ball, they still have Justin Herbert. They're still doing a pretty good job getting open, right? Can they protect against some of these pass rushers against the Dolphins? That'll be a question. I don't think the Miami D is good enough to take advantage of the disadvantage and the injuries that the Chargers have right now. But I do think Miami will be able to run the ball a little bit on the Chargers. And I'm expecting Miami to kind of be dink and dunk and surgically be able to move the ball on the Chargers a little bit too. I'm going to thread the needle like you. I got the Chargers 23-20. I mean, yeah, they win. They're not going to lose 3 in a row, but they are going cross-country, hot Miami, Florida, 1 p.m. game, all of that. And I don't think the Dolphins are just going to lay down. I don't look at that right now as seeing that and being an issue. So, yeah, close one here.
Yeah, they don't give up. They're just
not good enough.
They're just not good enough.
Right.
And I hate to say that, but sometimes that's the difference.
Right.
Okay, next up, the New England Patriots riding that huge win over the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football. They go down to New Orleans. The Saints pulled out a victory. They were down. They came back and beat the Giants, fueled by 5 turnovers on 5 straight possessions by New York. The Patriots are favored by 3.5 at the Superdome with an over-under of 45.5. Do the Patriots get another win?
Definitely. I mean, like I've said with the Jaguars, I'm a Patriots believer. I am. That's why I picked them to beat Buffalo last week. I think the Patriots are going like this, like some of the other teams we've talked about here, right? I think last week was a jump-off spot, like the Jaguars and the Broncos, to be like, oh, shit, yep, we are good. We went to Buffalo and beat them. I think it's going to be a positive thing in their building this week to finally go, wait, we got something going here. Let's keep it going, right? With their corners healthy, it just changes everything. And yeah, I don't expect the Saints to be able to move the ball consistently. And the Saints' best thing they do is run the ball, and I don't think you're going to be able to run against the New England Patriots. So when I look at that, yeah, I don't think that's good. And then the other side of the ball is, the Saints' defense is not bad, but I think New England's got it rolling. And I think Drake May's got that confidence not only to work the system, to make backyard plays and do all that. I'm a little surprised by the 3.5 spread here, 3.5. I'm going Patriots 28-17 on this one.
I got 24-16 Patriots. And, that was one of those confidence builder games for Drake May as he's trying to figure out where he fits in the broader hierarchy of quarterbacks. There was that talk about if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And even though Josh Allen and Drake May weren't on the field at the same time, they went into Buffalo's building. The last time the Bills were ever going to host the Patriots, unless they get together in the postseason this year in Buffalo, and they took it to them. The whiteout, the fancy uniforms, and it didn't matter. They never gave up. And May is developing that vibe where, and this is the difference between good and great quarterback, the guy who can make something happen when the play that's called goes sideways. And that throw that he made on the final drive for the game-winning touchdown where he's rolling out, looks like at best he's going to throw it away, and he completes the pass. That's when that's one of those oh wow moments where a guy gets the confidence of his teammates, of outsiders, and in himself. And I think you build on that. So 24-16, Patriots over the Saints in New Orleans. In Pittsburgh, my second favorite team, fresh from their win over my first favorite team in Ireland. And as we mentioned the other day, it's been a great 2 weeks for the Steelers. They're 1-0, and everybody else in the division is 0-6. Here come the Browns. Joe Flacco is gone. Not that he would have played. Dylan Gabriel gets his second start. The Steelers have had extra time to get ready to face Gabriel. They're favored by 5.5 at home. They're 0-1 so far this year in their home stadium because their other home game was in Ireland. So the idea of the Steelers falling to 0-2 at Acrisure and losing to the Browns, it's unthinkable to me. We both picked Pittsburgh every game this season. Are you picking them again?
I am. Now, the point spread to me is a little like where I'm like, oh, do I go with them covering the spread or not? I mean, you know my thoughts about the Browns defense. I think, though, what I look at and where I'm going to take the Steelers to barely cover the spread is if there was a week to have a time off and figure some things out. I mean, this was it. One, hey, then we know their defense needed some work and I got confidence that group will get it figured out. And I think we saw inklings of that, against Minnesota and over in Ireland. So I think that continues to improve. We know the Cleveland offense isn't real good. This feels like a game for a rookie quarterback going on the road in that environment where it's like, yep, you're going to get a pass tipped. It's going to get intercepted. You're going to get hit from behind and strip sacked. Like, that's going to happen as well. Aaron Rodgers, and I think the offense will understand the totality of the game. Hey, as long as we take care of the ball, we don't really think Cleveland can beat us. Hey, Aaron Rodgers is smart enough to get out of some of the bad plays that Cleveland can maybe create on that side of the ball. So I'm going to take the Steelers 20-13 here. I did have 17-13 at first, and I went, I'm going to have them cover it here. I'm not going to pick this as a best bet or anything, but I will have them cover the spread, 20-13.
I got 24-14 Steelers. I just think it's a tough spot for a kid in his second NFL start to go into Pittsburgh against Aaron Rodgers. It would be a huge, huge win if they could pull it off. I love what Quinshon Judkins is doing. Mike Tomlin was praising him this week. I just would try to run it and play some defense and hope to out-Steeler the Steelers, be the team that gets that break. But the Steelers have that vibe where they know how to engineer the break. It's almost like it's part of the game plan. We're going to get that big special teams play. We're going to get that turnover that sets us up. That's what made the week 2 game against the Seahawks so weird, because it was the Steelers who handed the Seahawks a touchdown while the game was still in the balance. So I got 24-14. Steelers get to 4-1. All right, let's take a break. Late afternoon games for the 6th Sunday of the regular season, including Joe Flacco facing the Green Bay Packers for the second time this season, even though he's not in their division. That's next on Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFTPM, Joint Mega Picks Podcast. Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFTPM, Joint Mega Picks Podcast. For week 6, we've covered the Thursday night game and all of the early Sunday games. Now it's on to the late afternoon contest. The Tennessee Titans taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders desperately need a win. They won week 1, lost every other game. The Titans lost every game. They won week 5. The Titans need this one because guess who's coming to town next week? Mike Vrabel's coming back, and he's going to be pissed. So they better get a win while they can. Can they do it? The Raiders are favored by 3.5, 41.5 over under. And as MDS pointed out at PFT earlier today, Pete Carroll had some comments yesterday suggesting that he's not thrilled with the play calling of Chip Kelly.
No.
I think he wants to see a lot more running of the football. Well, Chip Kelly went from genius. Anytime he's at the college level, he's a genius. And then he comes to the NFL, and he doesn't know what to do. Back at Ohio State last year, he's a genius again. And now at the NFL level, he's not getting it done.
Yeah.
Can they get it done against the Titans?
Yeah, there's just not enough there. There's not enough. It's enough offense for college football, but after 3 or 4 weeks in the NFL, everyone's like, wait, is that all there is? Is there's no more? That's it? Oh, okay. All right, we got to figure it out. So that's what they're saying. Now, this is a week they should be able to run the ball. We've seen it. The Tennessee Titans are susceptible to big runs. They're susceptible to getting run on. And I kind of look at this one as like, Raiders, home, got to get things turned around, really desperate that way. I think you catch the Titans like still on a celebration tour of like, hey, we won a game, all of that. I don't have much faith in the Titans offense. I do think the Raiders defense is still a pain in the butt. These are 2 teams that I haven't picked to win or cover the whole year. So I got to pick one of them, and I'm going to take the Raiders to win this one. What did I have? 20-13.
I got 28-24 Raiders. Look, the Titans had multiple horseshoes up their ass last week.
Yeah.
It was the DeMarcado fumble. It was the whatever the hell that play was where the ball gets kicked into the end zone.
Interception, fumble, right.
Yeah, interception, fumble, kicked into the end zone. You couldn't have drawn that up. You couldn't have even envisioned something like that happening. That helped fuel the win. I think that the Raiders get a much-needed win. And, one of the storylines earlier in this year is how often Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly talk to Tom Brady. I have a feeling that lately they've been inclined to hit the button when Tom calls, because I don't think they want to talk to Tom Brady. More specifically, they don't want to hear Tom Brady talking to them about everything they're doing wrong, because he's got to be beside himself with the way this team is playing. They got embarrassed last week by the Colts 40-6. This is a pride game for the Raiders.
Right.
Although the last time I called a game a pride game, it didn't work. This time I think it does. Raiders 28-24. They get the win over the Tennessee Titans. Okay, next up, Joe Flacco. And this is a stat that I heard on Dan Patrick's show earlier today. There's only one guy in league history that has beaten a team twice in a year with two different teams. Jack Kemp did it in the old AFL in 1962. He played for two different teams. He beat another team twice. So Flacco, Joe Flacco, the new Bengals starter, has already beaten the Packers once with the Browns in week 3. He gets to do it again with a lesser team, a lesser running game, a lesser defense, and they're going to Lambeau Field to face a Packers team that hasn't played for 2 weeks and is still pissed off about playing the Cowboys to a tie. The spread is 14. Do the Packers cover that spread, Chris?
I do. No, like I always tell, I pick the games without looking the spreads and all of that. I didn't realize it was this high as far as 14 points, right? But not shocked. Like, that's not a shocking thing. I mean, you said it right. I mean, first off, the Packers, you're exactly right. They're going to be pissed off. They feel like they blew 2 games in a row. 2 in a row. They blew it to Cleveland, and they blew some opportunities in the Dallas game to really control the football game and put it at a spot early on where Dallas wouldn't be able to come back. And we know what they did at the end of the first half that screwed things up there. I expect them to be a motivated, on their P's and Q's football team, and it just feels like, yes, the Bengals are falling apart. What can Joe Flacco? Can he make a few plays on the offensive side of the ball? Sure. I hear you. But I think the bottom line is the thing you said originally. I mean, Joe Flacco doesn't have the Browns defense this time around. It's the Bengals defense. They're not good. And I think this Packers defense is going to go. They went back to the lab and went, wait, we got to tinker and change a few things here. And so I expect them to be better. I'm going 35-20 Packers. And I really expect it to be worse. I'm giving like garbage time bullshit points and yards to the Bengals because that's what they're really good at right now. So, yeah, I'll go 35-20 Packers.
Yeah, I feel like the trade for Joe Flacco was a move of panic, even more than desperation. The Bengals knew they needed to do something. They got Flacco. They didn't give up much to get him, and they plug him in right away. And the approach is going to be the same. Throw it to Jamar Chase, throw it to T. Higgins, throw it to Jamar Chase, throw it to T. Higgins, and hope that Flacco only has 2 interceptions instead of the 3 that Jake Browning had last week. Packers 34-17. They're going to be ready to get back on the right track. They were 2-0. There was talk about going undefeated from one of the starting offensive linemen, and they're 0-1-1 since then. If they blow this one, the wheels could come off. They're not going to, I believe. All right, next up, a game that, again, before the season, 49ers Bucks week 6. Now, hey, 49ers Bucks. You got Mac Jones healthy. He's limited, but he's healthier than Brock Purdy. You've got Baker Mayfield and the Bucks flying high. The Bucks are favored by 3 with an over-under of 47.5. The 49ers amazingly at 4-1. The Bucks also at 4-1. Who wins what could be one of the better games of the weekend?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the 49ers last week's win against the Rams, that was incredible. I mean, that was just an unbelievable coaching performance by Shanahan with an undermanned team to come up with that scheme and keep them in the game. And of course, the defense making some big plays at a few moments, especially that Alfred Collins strip of Kyron Williams as he was going in the end zone. That was incredible. I still sit here, though, and, yeah, I favor the Bucks. And the 49ers are still a beat-up football team. Yeah, you're going on the road to Tampa. Tampa's flying high. I think that the 49ers defense, will it give the Bucks offense some problems? Sure, it will. But like we've seen every game, the Bucks always kind of seem to figure it out, and they're so balanced on both sides of the ball. And the other thing I throw on top of it, too, is just like, if there's a problem with the 49ers defense is they don't pressure the quarterback all that well. And that's scary against the Buccaneers, who throw the ball down the field and are incredible that way. I think it's a close football game. I do see that. And I think that the 49ers will have their moments, but I still question whether they have enough playmakers to make enough plays to keep up with Baker Mayfield. I'm going to go Buccaneers 24-20 in this one.
Well, you got it closer than I have. I have a 4-point margin as well, 31-27, given the extent to which the Bucks have been scoring points and allowing points to be scored. And I have a feeling it's going to be another Mac Jones game. And, I don't know that they have a quarterback controversy anytime soon. But, Chris, when you look at the contracts, they wisely signed Mac Jones for 2 years, not one.
Right.
And they have until the end of the 2026 season to figure out what they're going to do next, because the third year of the Brock Purdy deal doesn't kick in until April 1.
And that's the big money.
He doesn't kick in.
Right.
That's when they have to make their decision. And we'll see. By the time we get there, we'll know the right answer, and they will too. But it's another opportunity for Mac Jones to elevate his status in the organization. I don't think he's going to pull it off, though. I've got Bucs 31-27 in what could be another great Tampa Bay game. Okay, when we return, primetime games for Sunday night and Monday, and we've got another overlapping doubleheader. I don't like it, but they don't ask me. And if they did, they'd do the opposite anyway. We'll take a break and do Lions Chiefs plus the 2 Monday night games. Next, Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFTPM.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just download the Sportsbook app and use promo code PUNTER when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
And as always, please bet responsibly, only with money that you can afford to lose, because if you listen to me, and it's never been more true than it was last week, if you listen to me, you definitely will lose. Okay, Sunday night, Lions Chiefs. They had that great week 1 game, 2023 season. The Chiefs hang the banner and the Lions come out and take the game. That was kind of the real spark that we saw the Lions become an elite team with. The Chiefs are favored by 2.5. The 2-3 Chiefs are favored by 2.5 over the 4-1 Lions, who have looked unstoppable of late. Over under a 52.5. That's the highest of the week. Chris, here it is. We have to make our picks now. Everybody else on Football Night in America gets to wait until Sunday. We got to do it now. Who do you have?
Well, there's just first off, the betting public is just, they bet too much on quarterbacks. That's the one thing. I mean, I just see it all the time. And just people can't wrap their head around it's a team sport. Like Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are still favored to win the AFC North. Like, who is still betting on them? And can you come to my house and we can bet on some things together? Like, what are you doing? I mean, Josh Allen and the Bills are just a slam dunk going to the Super Bowl. Have you seen the rest of the team on the Bills? Did you watch the defense last week? Come to my house and let's bet on some things, please. I mean, what are we talking about? The Chiefs.
Do you really want those people to come to your house?
No, but meet me at 1 Blakely Road in Stamford, Connecticut at NBC Sports, and we'll figure out something to bet on, okay? All right, the same thing with the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs, okay, they got some good stuff about their football team. There's no doubt about it. But I still think people are, like, unwilling to accept some of the things we're seeing in front of our eyes. The defense isn't as good. The Lions are going to move the fucking ball up and down the field on the Chiefs. The Chiefs haven't seen anything like an offense like this so far this year. So that's the first thing I look at and just go, see, the Chiefs, I think, are back in a process right now. They've been a defensive team the last 3 years. I think they're in the process right now of shifting back over to the offensive side of the ball. And Rashee Rice is back this week. So what does that do for their football team?
Not this week.
Oh, no, sorry, next week. It's one more week. So with that, okay, because I was wrong about that. I don't know why I thought he was back. That makes me think less confidently still about the Chiefs offense. And the Chiefs offense, right, it's good, but this Lions defense is good. They make plays. They pressure the quarterback. They can do a little bit of everything that way. So, yeah, I sit here and I'm definitely taking the Lions. I'm surprised it's 2.5 like you, and I got the Lions here, 30-21 in Kansas City.
Oh, so close. So close to the bingo, the bango, and the bongo. I got 30-24 Lions over the Chiefs. And, yeah, look, the Chiefs aren't the Chiefs that we're used to. The Chiefs that we're used to beat the Jaguars on Monday night. And the Jaguars we're used to lose to the Chiefs on Monday night. And if we don't carry away some lessons from that, then that's on us. And as Coach Dungy pointed out on PFT Live today, that win over the Ravens suddenly doesn't look as
it's not all that great.
When you consider the Texans went into Baltimore and destroyed them.
Right.
So I think the Lions still have a chip on their shoulder. They still have something to prove. They find a way to get motivated and ready for every game. I'm troubled by the loafing that we saw from Chris Jones. I don't think it's going to continue this week, but I just think it's indicative of something. There's something missing with the Chiefs now.
Definitely.
You were on it before the season started. I wasn't ready to give up on them, although I didn't pick them to go to the Super Bowl. I didn't think they were going to be what they are now. Lions 30-24, and another opportunity for Detroit to kind of, right now, Detroit's the best team in the NFC.
Yeah.
In the AFC, I don't know who the hell the best team is. In the NFC, it's the Lions. And you could argue it's not even close that they would manhandle any of the other teams in the NFC they'd face. So, yeah, I'm stunned that the Lions aren't favored in this game.
Yeah, I am too. We'll see where it goes. To me, when the Lions can run the ball, they're almost unstoppable. And I think they'll be able to run the ball in Kansas City.
Overlapping doubleheaders on Monday Night Football. The Bills at the Falcons. Falcons had extra time to get ready. Falcons are one of those teams that you never quite know what you're going to get. They'll get blown out by a lesser team, and then they'll beat a better team. Bills favored by 4.5 points. They don't want one loss to become two. Falcons at home with a 49.5 over-under. Who do you like?
Oh, man. I've gone back and forth. This has got upset on it. This is not a good matchup for the Bills again. The Atlanta Falcons can beat the Buffalo Bills. I've gone back and forth with this one, picking it. I think this is close. I know. And here's my, first off, Atlanta's going to be able to run the ball on Buffalo. They are. And it's going to put Buffalo in, like we saw last week, where they have one of the best pass defenses in football. It's not really the best pass defense in football. It's really good coaching. And like you saw last week, when they have to play a team that they have to worry about stopping the run, the pass defense looks average as hell, just like we saw it look on Sunday night. They're going to be worried about stopping one of the best run games and one of the best running backs in the sport. And then they're going to have to deal with a big lefty out there who's going to be like, oh, Tre'Davious White is man-to-man? I mean, I can beat Tre'Davious White man-to-man. So why don't I throw it out there to my guy? I mean, so that's what you worry about with Buffalo. Now, the other side of that is, can Atlanta stop Buffalo's run? That's where I'm not sure. I'm going to take Buffalo here. I don't feel great about it, and I'm not going to take them to cover the spread. I'm going to go 24-21 Bills. They just get it done. I believe in them a little bit more, and Josh Allen, but I will not be surprised if they lose this one.
23-20, so close, so close. But we're both threading that needle, and I think it's kind of a hedge too, because you and I could both see the Falcons winning this game.
Definitely. I just don't have the confidence to pick them quite yet and believe in them quite yet.
Yeah, because like when it comes down to crunch time, I feel like the Bills are more adept to making a key play.
Exactly.
And the Falcons are more adept to not.
Right.
So it's that simple sometimes.
Yep.
All right. Last game on the slate of 30 teams playing, 15 total games. The Commanders hosting the Bears. This was the game last year where it all went sideways for Chicago. Tyreek Stevenson getting into it with the fans, not paying attention at the start of the Hail Mary that ended with the touchdown for the Commanders. It really gave them that lift that they needed. The Commanders at home are favored by 4.5 points, 49.5 over under. Who do you got?
Yeah, this is another one I've gone back and forth with here. You know, neither defense is very good. You look at that, I go, man, I could see both offenses scoring points and moving the ball. I worry about the Bears' ability to stop the run a little bit. I do. Washington's become one of the best running football teams in the sport. So that's where you worry. With Jaden Daniels and all that, it's actually I worry more about their passing game and them being explosive and finding big ways more than I worry about their running game. I think the Chicago Bears are going to be able to move the ball up and down the field on the Washington defense. I don't think the Washington defense is all that good. I don't. I think you can run it on them and throw it on them. You just got to figure out what they're doing. They really only play two defenses. They either blitz and play man, or they fake the blitz and play Tampa 2. And I think Ben Johnson's going to look at that and go, well, that. I will that defense up and find a million ways to do that. This is going to be one of my upsets here this week. I'm going to go to the Bears in a high-scoring one. I'm not going to bet on it. I'm not. It's not going to be a best bet, but I'm taking Bears 34-31.
You know, we went 14 games without a disagreement, either as to the spread or as to the outcome. And in the last game is our disagreement. The Commanders 35-27. I think back to, and it's easy to focus on the Hail Mary game last year, but Dan Quinn versus Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Look at what we saw in the playoffs.
Know. Right.
And I wonder how much of that carries over when you've got different personnel, but you got the same coach. That chess match, part 2. Who gets the edge? And I just feel like the Commanders right now are a little bit better than the Bears.
Yeah.
The Bears won 2 in a row. Their win over the Cowboys looks a lot better in hindsight when you consider the Cowboys tied the Packers. But I just feel like edge here goes to the home team. They're trying to establish something, and I don't feel confident about this. It's not going to be a best bet, but I'll go Washington 35-27.
I'm playing a little the angle of they had the week off, and Ben Johnson gets in the lab and comes up with some stuff that can attack this Washington defense. That's what I'm playing. But yeah, I'm with you. I could see this going either way, and I agree with you that I think Washington's the better football team. I agree with that. This is one where I'm going to play gut and the week off, and Caleb Johnson's motivated to show everybody he's the number 1 pick. It shouldn't have been Jaden Daniels, who everybody thinks should have been the number 1 pick now. So that's why I'm going to favor them.
Caleb Williams, by the way, but Caleb Johnson, that's an easy one because it's Ben Johnson. And there is a Caleb Johnson, rookie with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I didn't even realize
that one's not that bad.
Okay.
I called Travis Lawrence today as I was trying to pivot to a conversation about Travis Hunter. So mix and match. All right, let's take a break. Best bets and Folsom Prison Blues pick for week 6 next on Chris Simms Unbuttoned at PFT PM. Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFTPM Joint Mega Picks podcast. This is where we make our moves for our best bets and also the Folsom County Blues pick, which is supposed to be Folsom Prisons Blues, but Chris calls it Folsom County, so it me up.
That's
Give me your first best bet.
My first one is the Rams. The Rams over the Ravens. Having the long week, the Ravens in disarray. I got no faith in the Ravens at all. I think the Rams will be pissed off, plus the long week. I know they're 7.5-point favorites, but I got them winning by 17. I'm riding that.
I will start with the Denver Broncos giving 7.5 to the New York Jets. I feel like the Broncos are ready to take off. I feel like the Jets are ready to take a nap that lasts until the draft.
The beauty of this is always picking the right ones, right? And I had 5 games here where I just wasn't sure. I don't think I'm going to. I'm scared of the London aspect. Right? That's what I'm scared of. I'm just scared that like some weird things always seem to happen over there. So I'm not going to mess with that one. The next one I'm going to do is the Colts. The Colts favored by 7 against the Cardinals. I got them winning by 11. I think it could be more than that. I like the Colts.
I thought about that one as well. I pivoted to the New England Patriots, giving only 3.5 to the New Orleans Saints. They got their win for the first 2 months of the season last week, and the Patriots are in the process of establishing something. After beating the Bills, now is not the time to have a lapse.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going Pats as well. So I'm with you there. I'm taking them as well. 3.5 is just not enough for me.
Lions getting 2.5. I mean, anytime that I'm convinced a team's going to win and they're getting points, maybe they'll lose 21-20 and I still pull it off. Give me the Lions.
Good for you.
I'm losing faith in the Kansas City Chiefs, which probably means they'll win 42-21.
I didn't have the guts like you did to pick the Lions and the Broncos. Way to go there, man. I just didn't have the guts to do it.
Folsom Prison / County
Packers.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Packers.
Yeah, the spread's a little too high, right? But I'm taking them to win the game for sure.
If the Packers lose this game, it's time to call Jerry Jones for a refund on the Micah Parsons trade. That's it. Enjoy the games. Bet responsibly.
See ya.
See you next time.
Yo, homies, it's time to watch some games. That's right. We're on to the NFL season here with Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, Sunday night recaps after every game, and much, much more.
Thanks for watching. Peace out, homies. Remember, subscribe. Peace out.